We are pleased to be here at 1-0 in our conference. As I mentioned before, anytime you go on the road in conference, it's difficult. And we faced a hostile crowd last week, got down by 10, but we were able to find a way to stay in the battle and win. Made some adjustments to get that done. So really pleased with the effort of our guys and our coaching staff making those adjustments. Going into this game, it's nice. We have all of our goals ahead of us. We're tied for first in the conference with San Diego State and Nevada. I think this game is going to be huge for a number of reasons. We're Western Division rivals. We have the Night of Navy going on, where we be wearing Navy. It's also the only home game that the Red Wave can come watch us in October. So hopefully, the Red Wave will get that message that you got to be here this Friday night to see us. I think they'll be impressed with our new uniform combinations, the chrome helmets. I know our players are excited about it. It's going to be a great atmosphere, being a CVS College sports game, and playing against a very, very tough San Diego State team. Since I've been here anyways, had two great games against them. Both of them were nail biters. It went back and forth. We expect nothing different this Friday night. Coach Long and his staff do a tremendous job. They have a very, very talented team. Offensively, Coach Toledo does a great job with running a pro-style offense. They've got a fantastic running back in Pumphrey. Really explosive runner. I think he's one of the top guys in the conference. They've got skill all around him so that when you do load the box up, play action pass-wise, they're going to put some stress on you. And then defensively, with Rocky's 3-3 scheme, they are very difficult for an inexperienced quarterback to figure out, and they can create a ton of problems that way. So we know we've got our work cut out for us, but we're excited about the challenge and excited about the opportunity to hopefully hang on to the oil can.
You said the Red Wave. Did you mean the Navy Wave?
I guess that's what we're going to call it this week, Paul. I'm not sure exactly, but I'm not sure the Red Wave's ready to buy into the Navy Wave just yet. They may think it's a salute or something, but no, we're excited. Hopefully everyone will come to the stadium wearing Navy. I thought our fans did a great job last year with the blackout. There was a little concern, the Red Wave maybe not liking that, but they did a great job of wearing the black gear. It made a terrific impression television-wise, and I think everyone enjoyed the festivities of that. And hopefully, with the Night in Navy, we'll have something very, very similar to that.
And you mentioned an inexperienced quarterback for you, but on their side, completely inexperienced. Nick Bowden has not started a college game. Maybe you guys saw him a little bit in recruiting. Other than that, I'm sure it's hard to get a read on him, right?
Yeah, he was actually in our camp during the summer. So we saw him a little bit ago, and he's a young man that we think has a lot of talent. We saw him just at the end of the game last week, so we don't know a ton about what he's done there. But if he's starting for them, I'm sure that he'll be coached up, and he's they've got other quarterbacks on the roster, so he's beat those guys out. So we anticipate it's going to be somebody who's going to come in and be able to effectively run their offense.
You faced some good running backs this year already. Buck Allen, Amir Abdullah. But do any of those guys have the explosive capability that Pumphrey has as far as getting through a hole in a hurry?
Yeah, I think Amir Abdullah and him are very similar type of players. They're both a little bit undersized, but very, very powerful runners for their size. Surprisingly so. You would think someone 170 pounds wouldn't be able to run between the tackles the way he does, but he is extremely explosive. He's got great quickness and great speed, which is a nice combination to have. Sometimes you'll see guys that are quicker than they are fast. He's extremely quick, but he's also got that down the field speed. And so he can stretch the field horizontally and put stresses on you that way. And then once he turns the corner on guys, it's lights out.
Coach, how important was last week for Brian's development, the confidence that he built from that? And have you made any kind of proclamation to the team about him being the starter or anything like that this week? Or?
Well, I think last week was really big confidence-wise for him. We've seen him each week getting better. And last week, he kept adding to that, particularly in the second half where he's seeing the field better. He's seeing the blitzes better, getting us in the right place, throwing the ball on time. Again, making really effective plays in the read zone game, pulling it and running. On the third down play where he almost scored was a big play in the game for us. When you make plays like that, it does nothing but help your confidence. And so, we're pleased with where Brian's at. We also had to go through the tape and show him, hey, there's some things we got to keep, continue to clean up. But we like his progress. We don't need to proclaim anything to our team. Our team knows who our starting quarterback is.
Coach, you've had more rushing yards the last 2 games than this team has had in 2004. Is that part of the plan moving forward for this next game?
A lot of it depends on how teams try to defend us. The last couple of weeks lend itself to our running game being a big part of our attack. We think we've got 2 outstanding running backs in Martez and in Josh. And so if you're able to run the ball, it can make things easier on a quarterback. Now the coverages aren't quite so tight. They've got to assign more guys to the run. So we'd love to be balanced. We're clearly a lot more balanced this year than we were in the last couple of years. But we're always trying to take advantage of our strengths. And right now we feel we've got some strengths in the running game in how we're blocking it and how well our guys are running it.
Coach, can you talk about first quarter offense? Are you concerned, like legitimately concerned, that you guys still have not scored an offensive touchdown all year?
I really don't worry about those kind of things, and I know it's a talking point. But last week, when you play a triple option offense, you're going to get limited possessions. I think we only had 2 possessions in that first quarter. Both of them, we went right down the field. We stalled. We turned the ball over at about the 20-yard line going in. You can't do that. But I don't think that's an indication that our offense wasn't starting fast. Then the same thing happened on the other drive. We drove down the field. The ball stalled around the 20 or so. We decided to go for it on 4th down, and we didn't get things blocked well. We probably should have checked the play, but we didn't, and we got stopped, and give New Mexico credit for that. If we'd have gone 3 and out 5 times like we did against Utah, I'd be big time concerned, but that wasn't the case. So going forward, yeah, you'd love to go down and score on your initial drives, but if we're moving the football effectively like we did, we just got to be able to finish drives and not get stalled.
In the second quarter, when you guys were down 10 points and New Mexico had the momentum, you guys faced a little moment of truth there, a little adversity. What did you see there? Were you confident the team was going to respond, I guess? And then how important is it for you to actually see the team respond to that the way they did?
Well, I think that drive right before halftime was really big. And that's why I described our team as being gritty after the game. A young team, a lot of times you get put in an adverse situation, you're down 10 on the road, crowd's getting into it, emotions getting, momentum's going against you. It's real easy to start pressing. Brian did. We went methodically right down the field and scored right before halftime. And it's something we take a lot of pride in doing. We do our 2-minute drill all the time. We played it up tempo, but we were efficient in going down the field. I think the fact that we were able to do that helped our confidence and just kept our guys thinking, hey, if we keep playing, we'll be fine.
Did you see anything on the sideline beforehand? Like, was there any doubt at all when it was 10? When everything was
I don't think there was any doubt. Because there was so much time left. If it was halfway through the 4th quarter, we're down 10. Maybe there'd been some concern. We had a couple guys, younger guys that I don't want to say a far away look in their eye, but like a little bit of a hey, we weren't expecting this. But as coaches, we knew we were down 21 2 years ago in a very similar situation. A lot more veteran team back then. Guys didn't panic. We hadn't demonstrated yet that we can come back from that kind of a deficit and be able to win a game on the road. And so I think getting over the hump by doing it obviously helps our confidence. So I'm sure there were some guys that weren't quite sure, but as a coaching staff, we had a ton of confidence in our players, and that if we kept playing hard, we were going to find a way to get it done. We knew defensively we had to play better and tackle better, and we made some adjustments at halftime so that in the second half we got some things shored up. But we knew offensively, once we got some situations where we get some one-on-ones, we had some personnel matchups that we liked.
Coach, I think last week you said one of the downfalls of playing on Friday nights is high school. When you said that, do you mean like that you can't have guys at the game, that it takes away from the crowd, or you being able to see high school games? What's the biggest part?
It's a little of everything. Normally, we'd love to have a bunch of our local guys come to games on unofficial visits. At the Nebraska game, shoot, I think we had 100 guys here. You know, on a Friday night, obviously, most of those schools are playing, so, you know, those are going to be limited unless it's an off week for them. The fact that we can't go out and evaluate on Friday nights, like you normally would on a home game, you know, so that kind of detracts. Those things make it tough. But the benefit you get is the fact that you're on national television. Last week, you know, I got direct messages from a bunch of recruits that saw us on TV winning, looking good. So there's pros and cons to everything. And I think our administration likes the bottom line, you know, tends to help more on TV, you know, also. So we all like that part. And you know, with another Friday night this week, you know, with the you know, Navy uniforms and chrome helmets, I think we got an opportunity, if we play well, to put a good brand on television, which is what you always want to do to help recruiting.
Tim, what do you think of the up-tempo pace you guys are playing on offense? How much did you guys against New Mexico, and how much did that help you guys in this matchup?
I think clearly it was a factor last week. I think as the game went on, they really struggled to stay up with us. I think that's, you know, very indicative of why we do this. It's hard for people to prepare, just like it's hard to prepare for triple option. You know, give them credit. They've gone with their philosophy, and it's tough for us to adjust to, especially initially. But there's something we believe in. That tempo can create some issues where guys aren't communicating. They're tired. They're maybe not in their gaps. They're not playing coverage right. You know, they alluded to having some coverage busts, and I think a lot of those are products of going fast. And, you know, I think each week our guys are playing at a you know, faster clip. I think that, you know, as we keep going, we can, you know, even play faster. And if we'll continue that and play effectively, I think going against the San Diego State, that could be a factor. They do a great job with, you know, their disguise. Being a disguise team ourselves, I know when teams go fast, it can, you know, tend to get you out of your disguise. So hopefully we'll be able to play fast and it'll have an effect.
Coach, Aaron Peck had a few big grabs in the game on Friday. How big was that for him after he dropped his?
It was good. You know, he had a couple weeks that were tough on him, and so we moved him from outside back to inside. Delvon Hardaway had been stepping up, Damari had been stepping up, so we're trying to get the right combination of guys on the field. I think Aaron Peck, body-wise and ability-wise, can be a really effective guy in our offense, but he wasn't demonstrating that as efficiently as he should have. Moving him inside, I don't know if it was because of that, but he made some big-time plays that helped us the other day and showed what he's capable of. And so I was pleased with the way Aaron played.
Coach, I don't think you'd argue with the statement defense wins championships. And looking around the conference this last week, have you ever seen a week that exemplified that more? I mean, with Air Force and what they did, with Colorado State, with San Diego State. And what does that mean for your defense and what you need out of them Friday night?
It means we got to step up. I mean, we haven't demonstrated yet. I mean, the second half last week against Southern Utah, we're trending the right way, but we still got a little ways to go. We're work in progress over there. You know, we've got some guys that were dinged up. It's college football, and we've got to get our younger guys going. And you know, we know that San Diego State's got a terrific defense. You know, they've demonstrated that, and we're going to have a great defensive effort this week in order to be competitive in this game Friday. So right now our guys' egos are a little bit bruised, you know, over the way we've started the first, 4 or 5 games. But I think we're starting to get that swagger back. I think this, in the last half of the game on Friday night, our guys started getting that swagger back.
Tyler Davison looks like he has his swagger back.
Yeah, Tyler I thought played really well. Played hard, was much more consistent than he had been. I think he's, settling into the nose guard position, and when he's there, he can be a major factor. And I was pleased at how he played.
Coach, could we maybe see a few more designed runs even for Brian now with the way he's running the football?
I mean, a lot of the things we do, there's, you can say they're designed runs, but it's predicated on how they defend us. If they're going to chase, the running play down with the running back, he's got the option to pull it every time. So we'll always have some of that in our offense. I think, he's demonstrated that he can hurt people with his legs, and so yeah, we're looking at those types of things.
Maybe encourage him maybe to run a little more, maybe more so than at the beginning of the year? You know?
No, I think it's just a matter of him being confident and making the right read. It's always easy to hand it. You know, it's a little bit more difficult to decide, hey, can I beat that guy? Is he turning his shoulders? What's that C-gap defender doing? Can I beat him? And I think the more you do it, the more comfortable you get in making those good decisions. And the decision he's made, he's taken advantage of and hurt people because he can really run.
How much more effective is, I think, an offense when you've got a running back, or I mean, a quarterback who can run?
I
like that?
think it's one of the reasons why this spread offense and a running quarterback's all the rage. You know, you add an extra guy that the defense has to account for, it's tough. And so we've made some explosive plays out of him in the run game, and I think it's very much an indication that it makes it tough on defenses.
Did you like seeing Brian lower his shoulder like that on that run? I mean,
You know, kind of like Derek last year, we got to be smart with how we finish runs. You know, I have no problem at all with Brian's toughness. I know he's a tough guy, and I know he kind of wanted to run through guys, but we want him to, play the entire season. So,
does that kind of thing fire up the team, though? Is there some benefits on that?
yeah, I think so. You know, the same thing with DC last year. You know, he gets all jacked up, and it's like, dude, we gotta keep you the whole game. You know, when you run your quarterback, you're always at risk of, a couple weeks ago, Brandon hurt his hand, and I think he got hit, while running the football. Those things can happen to a quarterback, and so we just got to be judicious on how we finish runs. But as far as toughness, I like him showing that grit.
And there was some talk that you were going to play a couple quarterbacks against New Mexico. Did Brian just have things in hand well enough that you didn't need to?
Well, yeah, unlike the first few games where we had definite plan, hey, second quarter, no matter who started, the other one was going to come in. This game, we were looking at maybe situationally playing, Brandon, but situations, didn't dictate for that to happen. So we'll see this week. Not to give our whole game plan out. Each week we practice different packages and different things, and we'll just see how the game plays out.
What do you expect his role to be, though, moving forward on the season, now that Brian's had a really good game and the guys can look at him and say, hey, he maybe won the job?
Well, Brandon's got to be a guy that, in college football, I mean, look what happened to Kaler. Injuries happen. He's got to be a guy who can step in if called upon. I also think he's got some skills that we're going to try to exploit, as a change-up. So, there'll be some things, some roles for Brandon as well.
With what San Diego State does defensively, you mentioned before, they can disguise things really well. Even Derek had problems with that sometimes last year. What kinds of things, without giving away the game plan, do you guys plan on doing to take some of the pressure off Brian?
Well, I think tempo can help us. When you spread people out and you go fast, they don't have time to kind of mill around and give you different looks to confuse you. You got to get lined up, or a big play can happen. So, obviously we'll try to use tempo to our advantage.
And then speaking of that, there seemed to be a lot of, unofficial timeouts that New Mexico took in that game. When players are down on the field, and obviously, you don't want that because you want to keep the pace going. Is there anything you can do to talk to the refs? Are they there? Do you talk to them about that?
It's always a safety factor, and the officials, are going to err on the side of safety. And, I'm not going to, get into the minds of those players as to why they did those things. I would say they're probably legitimate injuries, so that's part of the game. If you go fast and you get dinged up, part of the rules are, if you're hurt, stay down and, you can get help off the field. So that's just part of it.
So you're not saying that New Mexico did some of that?
No, I don't think they did. I think they were, legit. The one kid hurt a hamstring, I think, and it's football. You're gonna get nicked up. Those things happen.
Let's go to the phone real quick. Todd, are you on the line with us still?
I am.
Got a question for Coach?
Yeah, thanks for taking my call, Coach. Wanted to ask you about Nick Bottom. I know you mentioned earlier that he was in your camp and knew about that, and just wanted to ask, what did you guys see in him to do what?
Well, he's an athletic guy with good size. We liked him, we recruited him. He chose to go to San Diego State, so now we're just going to have to compete against him. But that's just, you know, the way it goes. But we thought he was an athletic guy, he threw the ball well. You know, we thought he was a Division I quarterback prospect, and that's why we recruited him.
Anything else, Todd? Any questions here?
Hey, Coach, getting back to defense, and Nevada, another example where their defense won the game in the fourth quarter. But on your defense, is there a more unselfish guy than Charles Washington? And what has his playmaking and versatility and unselfishness meant to the rest of that defense?
Well, you know, he's been a tremendous help for us on defense because, you know, he's got the skill set. He can play corner or safety. And it's tough when you're bouncing back and forth, but that's what we needed to do with him for us to win the football games. And, you know, I mentioned to our team yesterday at our team meeting, you know, to me, the biggest play in that football game was after we turned the ball over, they've got the ball 20-yard line or so going in, you know, a team that, you know, maybe doesn't have that belief. With a momentum swing like that, a lot of times, you know, an offense has a chance to go in, score. Now it's a big-time change. Well, they went for it on fourth down, and they had a one-on-one situation with Charles to make a play, and he made the play for us. And, you know, once we took that, you know, we got a momentum burst. Our offense went down and scored, and you know, kind of dictated the rest of the game. You know, we mentioned before, Charles plays with a tremendous effort. A year ago, I can remember him chasing down, I think it was Rutgers had a big play, and he chases it down, and it ends up, we get a stop, it ends up being a, you know, a three-point play instead of a 7-point play, and we win the game in overtime. And those are the kind of things that Charles does all the time, and really happy that he's here making those plays for us, because he's been a big part of our defense.
It was Charles who knocked it down in overtime, too, to finish that win, if I remember correctly.
Okay, yeah, because it was Norton who knocked the Boise one down, but yeah, you're right. I think on the 2-point play it was Chuck.
So where's he going to be this week?
We'll find out on Friday. So yeah, we're still going through all of that. There'll be a few oars on our depth chart again.
All right.
Coach, can you go over what the Navy wave is going to be expecting to see out of San Diego State come Friday night?
Well, you know, again, they're a pro-style offense that's really explosive with that pump free. They're going to try to pound it. I think they're the most physical offensive line in our league, arguably the most physical that we've faced this far. You know, I think they've got some NFL guys in that offensive line. You know, offensively, Coach Toledo does a great job of mixing things up. We're not sure what to expect out of Bodden, you know, because we haven't seen him just yet, but they've got tremendous skill outside. They've got receivers that can run. Coach Toledo always has some, you know, special plays, you know, that they, you know, run at selected times, whether it's reverse passes, you know, those types of things that we've got to be, you know, alert for. And then defensively, they get after people. Rocky's, you know, been running this 3-3, you know, blitz package for a long time and giving people fits. So, you know, I think people are going to see, just like they have the last 2 times that we played San Diego State, a tightly contested game that, you know, is likely to come down to the last minute.
Coach, this rivalry, is it kind of a budding rivalry maybe between Fresno State and San Diego? I know you guys, you know, back in the same division in the Mountain West, and you know, you don't have Boise on the schedule this year. Is your hope that it kind of gets amped up maybe even a little bit more in the future?
Well, I think that we're division rivals. It's going to always be a rivalry. In recruiting, you know, we're going after similar kids. You know, we both recruit the state of California, so, you know, the results of this game a lot of times, you know, is a factor in recruits' minds. So it's big. You know, the last 2, like I mentioned, the last 2 years, it's come down, you know, down to the wire, and we've been fortunate for 2 years to be able to get them. The fact that we got them here in Bulldog Stadium, you know, I like our chances. I think, you know, we get the red wave or blue wave or navy wave, whatever we want to call it, behind us. I think that could, you know, hopefully be the difference in the ballgame.
Coach, I know it's not the Stanley Cup, and it probably pours a little different than the milk can, but have you guys had any fun with that oil can and putting anything in it?
We haven't put anything in it just yet. You know, you get a chance to put the scores on the side. So, you know, we've had it here. Our players know that, you know, it's the symbol for, you know, football supremacy between us and them, and our guys definitely want to keep it here.
All right, any other questions for Coach? Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
So that's Coach Tim DeRuyter. His Bulldogs hosting San Diego State Friday night, 7 o'clock. perhaps the West Division crown on the line eventually, certainly the lead in that race on the line between the Dodge and the Aztecs. So we've heard from the coach, and now we're going to hear from the quarterback out of Bakersfield, Brian Burrell. Brian, how good did that feel to put together